Aaron Carter's shocking confession leaked, "My own parents sold me."
It's been rough. Yeah, that's tough though. I will fight back with a vengeance. That's why I've made it this far in life. Say hi, Mama.
I told you no videos.
Hey, Mom. Someone just goes, how many times do you think Lou Pearlman had with Aaron Carter?
Oh, jeez.
Pearlman stole a lot from all these boy groups and one girl group, but he also has a litany of allegations against him. Nick Carter's mom said he was especially inappropriate with the younger boys. She said he would expose himself and watch with them.
Different things, and it's a long day, and at the end of the day, they plop down in their bed, which they don't know where they are sometimes, you know. They forget what city they're in or what country they're in. And if you watch an artist, I mean, they just go through a lot of stress.
Pearlman is the man that architected the popular boy band craze of the late 1990s, notably by managing NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. He is wanted in the state of Florida on federal bank fraud charges and has evaded authorities.
Honey, grab a chair and hold on tight, because this might be the most twisted, heartbreaking, and downright disturbing celebrity confession we've ever heard. Aaron Carter's leaked recording just hit the internet like a wrecking ball, and it's turning everything we thought we knew about his life upside down. This isn't some vague rumor or tabloid chatter. No. This is Aaron with his own voice telling the world that his own parents allegedly sold him to the worst monsters in the entertainment industry, and guess what name popped up again? Yep. The same ex-manager of the Backstreet Boys, the same man whispered about for years in the darkest corners of Hollywood gossip. But here's the kicker. Allegedly, Pearlman was also bankrolling Diddy's infamous blackmail ring. Let that sink in. The dots are connecting and the picture is looking horrifying.
My family and friends were terrified that we were signing with Lou Pearlman.
Hey, Lou.
But we knew this was the guy that was gonna make it.
Aaron wasn't quiet, not at all. He was screaming for help. He tried to blow the lid off the darkest secrets in the industry, but instead of being heard, he was mocked, branded as crazy, pushed deeper and deeper into addiction. But here's where the story takes a turn that's downright evil. Aaron claimed on the record that his own mother tried to pressure him into lying about Michael Jackson, that she, and even the FBI, wanted him to say MJ had done something disgusting. But Aaron, he refused. He stood by Michael, swearing to the end that the pop legend never touched him or hurt him in any way.
Back to the Sheraton Hotel at Universal. Over here. There's 4 FBI agents waiting for me in the hotel room. And my mom's there and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened?
Meanwhile, the same parents who were trying to get Aaron to lie about MJ were allegedly handing him over to real monsters like Lou Pearlman. It's the kind of betrayal that makes your blood run cold. This wasn't about protecting Aaron. This was about protecting secrets and profit.
For this, we're gonna play Name That Canadian Boy Band.
Okay.
Okay? Here we go. First one. No cheating. So what is the Lou Pearlman secret recipe?
The big thing that we do is we really train the artists really well back in Orlando. We have a really good school for...
And just when Aaron started naming names, bam, he's found dead in a bathtub, just like that. But wait, because the plot thickens, one of the top security guys who worked with Michael Jackson before his death ended up working for Diddy. And this guy, he allegedly had connections to government intelligence agencies. The Carter brothers being passed around in the industry, their parents allegedly pushing them into those situations. Aaron being pushed to lie about MJ, MJ's head of security ending up with Diddy, Diddy running wild for years and nobody stopped him? Nah. This wasn't just bad luck. This smells like a carefully managed industry machine that protects predators and destroys whistleblowers. So let's get into the tea.
Can't get me. They tried. Think about it. Think about all the stuff that's transpired in the last year, man. They tried. They tried everything they...
Let's talk about Aaron's jaw-dropping confession, the one that leaked just months before his death. He was on IG Live with his mom when a fan brought up Lou Pearlman, and instead of showing concern, Aaron's mom laughed. Yes, laughed. And then she made a bizarre joke about Pearlman doing something to Aaron's brother, Nick.
That's why I've made it this far in life. So internet trolls will never destroy me. card of anyone. Oh wow, he produced it.
What kind of mother jokes about that? Especially when Pearlman's name is attached to years of rumors and horrific allegations. If you don't know, let us fill you in. Lou Pearlman was called the Jeffrey Epstein of boy band pop. He built up the careers of NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, O-Town, and yes, Aaron Carter. But behind closed doors, he was also running one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. And worse, there are multiple male artists who say Pearlman's behavior was downright predatory.
The Pearlman guy, apparently, one of the stories, for example, is a kid goes to him and says, "Oh, I'd like to be in the band." Look at him. Oh, love of God. One of the boys says, "I'd like to get in the band, etc. How do I do that?" He's in a robe. He opens up his robe and says, "Now, how do you think you're going to get into the band?" Wow. And apparently a lot of the kids did it because they didn't know any better. Nick Carter, who's kind of famous, he went out with, I think, Ashley Simpson. I don't know which of the bands he was in.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Okay. God bless you. Anyway, his mom keeps saying, "Oh, what he did to Nick was terrible and he should be punished," and stuff. Don't say it. I know you have to say it. I know, and I'm being bad, but I just don't.
Who are those guys you have on screen?
Those are the Backstreet Boys. And he named them the Backstreet Boys. I mean, for the love of God. I remember back when they first came out, I was like, how do you name them the Backstreet Boys? And I didn't know about Lou Pearlman or anything like that, but now that I know, I mean, you put two and two together, you're going to come up with four.
Vanity Fair even exposed how Pearlman would tell these boys they were a family and wanted them to call him Big Papa. What? Lance Bass from NYSYNC even admitted that Pearlman used physical therapy as an excuse to inappropriately touch young artists. Disgusting.
This to the Transcontinental record deal, he was our manager, and in his contracts, he puts himself as the sixth member of all his groups.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Yeah. So he was, and the way he sold it to us was like, if I'm the sixth member of your group, you don't have to pay a lawyer, you don't have to pay a management fee, you don't have to pay me as the record, label. I will cover all of that. But
you just give me all of your
all
money.
a lie. Yeah, it's like, so basically he took 90% of everything.
He not only was like a thief, but also kind of a creep.
He was creepy, yeah. He definitely had a creep effect. And he was a very touchy-feely guy.
Yeah.
So he was always kind of giving you, shoulder rubs and all that, and it was definitely creepy.
No, tell the story about he would do like a pec check or be like, I can
Oh, yeah,
manipulate your
he would
muscles.
tell all the guys, if we had a photo shoot or something like that, he would, he minored in physical therapy. He would always minor in lots of things.
Right.
And he could manipulate your muscles to make it look like you worked out. So he would always be trying.
There's even a clip of Pearlman bragging about working these boys so hard they wouldn't remember whose bed they fell asleep in. That's not just sketchy, that's chilling.
Their day practicing for rehearsals, maybe for a show that evening, doing more press during that day, meet and greets, going to record stores, doing signings, all these different things. And it's a long day, and at the end of the day, they plop down in their bed, which they don't know where they are sometimes, They forget what city they're in or what country they're in. And if you watch an artist, I mean, they just go through a lot of stress sometimes, and they really take it very well. And I have to commend them because they always have to be on when they're on the camera. They have to look good. They have to smile.
Now let's talk about Nick Carter. Rumors have long swirled that Nick was one of Pearlman's victims. In fact, A.J. McLean's mother told Vanity Fair that Nick suddenly stopped wanting to go to Pearlman's house. She said there was a flip, and then they heard something inappropriate had happened. But when Vanity Fair asked Nick's parents about it, they refused to comment. Even crazier, other moms from the industry confirmed that Nick's mom, Jane, had called Pearlman a predator, and yet, when Aaron brought it up on IG Live, Jane joked about it like it was nothing. What mom hears her son might have been preyed on and laughs? It paints a really dark picture of who Jane Carter is. And Aaron, he didn't just hint at it. He laid it all out during an interview with Vlad TV. He said his mom actually tried to force him to lie about MJ, that the feds were basically coaching him to say something incriminating, but he stood strong. He didn't budge.
Universal, over here. There's 4 FBI agents waiting for me in the hotel room. And my mom's there, and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean, tell them what happened? And I sit down with them, and they all ask these superly exploited, questions. backsided questions, and I knew that at my age already. And I looked at all four of them and I said, are y'all crazy? I said, what you think I'm gonna do? Tell you that Michael did something bad so that we can sue him for money? That's what I told him. I was like, you're crazy. And I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? And she goes, well, I think something happened, I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind.
The big question is, why? Why try to get Aaron to flip the story and lie about Michael Jackson while ignoring the real threat of Lou Pearlman? Here's the answer. Allegedly, money. At that time, the allegations against MJ were a cash cow. A fake claim from Aaron could have meant big money for whoever was pulling the strings. And guess who was in control of Aaron's career, finances, and basically his life at that time? His mom. Meanwhile, she allegedly did nothing to shield her kids from Pearlman. Even though Nick had a major blow-up with Pearlman, even though Phoenix Stone, an early Backstreet Boys member, claimed Jane confirmed something happened. It's heartbreaking, but Aaron wasn't going to stay silent. Even if his own mom tried to keep him quiet. Before his tragic death in 2022, Aaron was going full expose mode. He wanted to take down the predators, the shadow handlers, the real puppet masters of Hollywood. And let's be clear, he wasn't just talking about randos. He was pointing at the same shady players who allegedly helped cover for Diddy's blackmail network.
The FBI were investigating Jackson for 10 full years, and they presented no evidence of criminal conduct on Jackson's part. The files have been declassified and you can view them yourself. They include a raid of his home where they confiscated all electronics. This is their ID number that you'll see. We're talking computers, hard drives, cell phones, where they say the amount of gigabytes. And then following are pages like this where they have the ID of the different devices and they all say nothing. Literally, they all say this. They found nothing. But that didn't stop the press from running made-up stories about how secret FBI files revealed that Jackson had paid millions in hush money to dozens of boys he had, despite the FBI files directly negating that statement. Michael Jackson said a lot of things about Jewish people, particularly later in his career. And then he was smeared to all hell and back as an anti-Semitic Nazi. Except that when you search YouTube for the actual original phone call recording where he called Jews leeches, YouTube won't let you see it. You can't find it. Instead, they feed you a bunch of videos that are of this other phone call that seems to be his doctor that allegedly killed him, calling him when he was in the midst of heavy sedation and getting him to talk on the phone in slurred speech about how his life was while he was completely fucked up on drugs that his doctor that was talking to him probably knew he was high on. And yes, Jackson did say that the Jews we're probably referring to the Jews in the music industry, are like leeches and that they took everything from him and that they did it on purpose. But when you look into those allegations or those insults, you realize that because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses, but Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day and there's video proving it. So they changed their story, but the witnesses definitely saw it and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after them.
Aaron also went public with accusations against Sony. He said they were trying to silence him, to bury him, that they didn't want the truth to come out. But here's where it goes next level creepy. There's one more link between Michael Jackson's mysterious death and Diddy's empire, and that link is Fahim Muhammad. Fahim was Diddy's head of security, according to a lawsuit filed by producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. And guess what? He was also Michael Jackson's head of security. Not only that, but Lil Rod says Fahim had deep ties to law enforcement and power players. He wasn't just security, he was the fixer, the guy you called when you needed someone or something to disappear. Fahim could make problems vanish. He was the one Diddy's staff were told to call if they got pulled over by police in Miami or Cali. Yeah, that powerful. And here's the shocker. Before working for Diddy, Fahim was with MJ the night he died. But wait, At the time, Fahim was a fresh college graduate, barely 21, no security experience, just a business degree. So why on earth was he chosen as the man to protect the king of pop? Sources say MJ may not have had a say. Allegedly, that decision came from someone else pulling the strings. Some believe Fahim wasn't just a random hire. Independent journalist Ian Carroll claimed that Fahim had ties to intelligence agencies and might have been a handler planted to watch MJ during his final months. Now step back and look at the whole twisted puzzle. Aaron's mom allegedly tries to frame MJ. Meanwhile, she ignores the real threats like Pearlman. Aaron tries to expose the truth and ends up dead in a tub. Cell Blade tries to reclaim control of his life and he ends up gone too. Both surrounded by powerful people connected to Diddy. Both surrounded by whisper networks of blackmail, coercion, and silence. Coincidence or cover-up? Fans are done staying quiet. They believe Aaron was silenced, that he got too close to the real power structure, the one that protects men like Pearlman and Diddy and crushes anyone who dares to speak out. And now, as the lawsuits against Diddy start to peel back the layers of his empire, fans are going back and looking at Aaron's warnings with fresh eyes. Suddenly, the things he said on camera don't sound so crazy. They sound like evidence. He talked about handlers, about being exploited, about having no control. He wasn't being paranoid, he was being real. And if the things Aaron said about his parents are true, if Jane Carter really put money and fame over the safety of her kids, it would mean this started from inside the family. It means the abuse wasn't just from outsiders. It was enabled, protected, even encouraged by the very people who were supposed to love him. And then the ultimate betrayal. Instead of protecting her sons from Pearlman, Jane allegedly wanted Aaron to falsely accuse someone who didn't harm him. That alone should have the world side-eyeing everything she's ever said since. This entire saga has left fans furious and heartbroken because Aaron was right in the middle of it, battling addiction, trying to raise his voice, and getting drowned out by powerful people who wanted him gone. The bathtub, the timing, the silence from those in power, it all feels too convenient. And while the media may have called him troubled or unstable, the truth is he was traumatized repeatedly. And when he tried to speak up, he was pushed deeper into the shadows. Now, people are demanding accountability, not just for what happened to Aaron, but for the whole system that allowed it. The same system that allegedly protected Pearlman, that covered for Diddy, that tried to spin lies about MJ while hiding the truth about the real monsters. The same system that leaves young stars vulnerable, that feeds them into the machine, that silences them when they speak up. And Jane Carter? She hasn't offered any real defense, not after the leaked IG Live, not after the recordings, not after Aaron's own words pointed the finger directly at her. We may never get justice for Aaron, but what we can do is keep exposing the truth, keep sharing his words, keep calling out the pattern, because Aaron's story is more than tragedy,